Okay guys, let's look at ACT QSET number 2, the one beginning Bessie Coleman in flight. Alright, number 1 is C, one final. We see a redundancy, right? That's a common category that we see for these questions where something's repeated. One final ultimate is redundant, one last final. Last and final mean the same thing, and then the final performance of one last. That was just horrible. But the redundancy is there still. So obviously C is the answer. Number 2, this is a straightforward usage issue where up, you just need to know that up is the appropriate one. There's really no rule to follow except that it's just standard usage. Number 3, this is a parallel construction question, and you're going to see this on your ACT maybe a couple times. In fact, I think there's 2 in this packet. So we want, let's see, she does 3 things. She did 3 things. She lined the nose, she gave the engine, and took off. She lined, gave, took. The choice that preserves that idea, those 3 things together, is B. Mark. Okay, number 4 is H. Southwest, where she'd been. Let's see. Otherwise, looks like you got a run-on sentence if you choose J. The other 2 just don't sound right. I mean, it's just the construction ends up being an incomplete sentence or illogical. Okay, number 5 is a D, an omit the underlined portion, right? Omit means to get rid of it. You don't need it there because we just mentioned 1893 in the sentence before, so it makes sense to omit the thing. Number 6 is G, a year. After a year at Langston Industrial College, right? That's the clearest, simplest, shortest one. You don't really need that other information that the other choices insert there. Number 7 is a no change. We leave it just like it is. You don't need any of that other punctuation in there. Remember, punctuation for the most part separates. It separates in different ways, but you don't want any of that separation between Abbott and of the Chicago Weekly Defender. Number 8, J. This is actually 2 items together. The first one is the correct use of there, and this one we want the location version, so THERE. But we also need a verb to be inserted in there, and J is the only one that does both of those things correctly. Number 9 is D, settled. This is another parallel construction. We want settled, sailed. No, Bessie Coleman took, settled, and sailed. Number 10, needed to figure out where this modifier daily goes. Daily is an adverb. And this is another category. You're going to see a modifier placement problem at some point, and this is the one for this question set. We got to figure out where to put it, and it goes in, well, wherever H is, after flying. It's the only place that it really makes sense. Number 11 is C. Okay, here's one that I mentioned last time that didn't have it on that QSET, but it does here. That's a sequence question. So you needed to figure out which one makes the most logical topic sentence. And sentence 2 is the only one that you could really have out of those 3 at the beginning of the paragraph. Bessie Coleman took a... Oh, wait. Is that right? Yeah, she took a course in French, settled her affairs, and sailed for Europe. So you got her leaving for Europe at the beginning, and then the other stuff all happens after she's in Europe. So that makes sense. And in most of these, you don't need to read. Like, if you look at B, C, and D, those choices, if you went through and read each one of those in that order, that eat up a lot of time. You spend a lot of time reading this paragraph 4 separate times. Once you realize that number 2 is the only one that makes a good topic sentence, you don't need to read the rest as far as you need to go. So a lot of times you can just read a single paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs together, and then you got to figure it out. Number 12 is G. We don't need any commas or any other punctuation. We don't want any separation. We just want this to be embedded in with the rest of the sentence, and commas separate. 13 is C. And let's see, we have the comma. Here we do want separation. In fact, 13 and 14 are the same. Let's look at those together. We want that comma after lecture. And if you read it, you want that pause. You can tell that there's separation there. Same thing with J and 14. Okay, and then 15, the last one. First sentence in paragraph, let's see. In order to accomplish this purpose, it would be most logical and appropriate to place this sentence after the first paragraph in paragraph, or first sentence in paragraph 3. Okay, and this is right before she realizes that she's found a way to do it in Europe. Okay, so that makes sense where to put that one. Okay, that is it. All right, we'll see you next Tuesday for Q set 3.